सर मेरे कुछ कंसेप्ट्स जो मैं 2 साल की तैयारी में उनको क्लियर नहीं कर पाई थी वो मुझे क्लियर हो गए एक तो, और दूसरा बहुत ही ज्यादा डाइवर्स क्वेश्चंस थे इन साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी, इकोनॉमी, देन इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन, डेफ बेस्ड. So holistically questionnaire was there and sometimes I lagged, but you really guided me well.
So you are Miss Deepesh Kumari, right?
Yes, sir.
Miss Deepesh Kumari. So you basically belong to Bharatpur.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is the meaning of the term Deepesh?
Sir, Deepesh means Lord of Light because it is a combination of 2 words, deep and ish, and deep is light and ish means Lord, so Lord of Light, and synonym of Lord Sun also.
Okay, okay, okay. So what are the specialties of Bharatpur?
Sir, Bharatpur is easternmost district of Rajasthan, also called Eastern Gateway to Rajasthan. It has UNESCO World Heritage Site, which is Kevladev National Park, and it is very promising in cultivation of mustard. So its oil industry is very flourishing, and the culture-wise, it follows Braj culture because it is part of Mathura Vrindavan circuit, Braj circuit.
Okay. So if you are asked to become the DM of Bharatpur, what will be top 3 priorities?
Sir, first is to create alternative employment. More than 70% of workforce is engaged in agriculture, but due to the water scarcity and the low yield, that is not very much profitable. So, by providing skills or creating alternative employment. And second would be to enhance the female sex ratio. It is only 888, which is less than the national average, even Rajasthan average. So that needs to be improved. And third is that infrastructure in rural area, like health, sanitation, water facilities, these need to be looked at.
What are the Government of India schemes for the empowerment of women which you will like to introduce to the Bharatpur?
Sir,
The
one
schemes of
is
women empowerment.
Sir, one is Jan Aadhaar account, Jan Dhan account, where female are motivated to open account for financial inclusion. And second is Stand Up India scheme and Mudra scheme, where consist loan is provided for starting a business. And third is schemes like Beti Bachao Beti Padhao for providing adequate health as well as to reduce their infanticide and feticide.
So you want to say that Jan Dhan scheme and the Skill India scheme, they are for women empowerment?
Sir, they are for financial inclusion, but main beneficiary of them are female. So yes, they are ensuring the empowerment of women also.
So they are the general schemes for financial inclusion, but they are likely to help in women empowerment also, right? What do you mean by the term empowerment itself?
Sir, empowerment means enabling the person to achieve its full potential. So either by providing options to choose, etc.
Say there is Mr. Ambani and the government enables to do him better. So is it a case of empowerment?
Yes, sir, it is an empowerment because his expertise in corporate sector, if he is enabled to achieve at great heights, then overall economy as well as nation will go higher. Achha. So yes, it is for everyone.
Achha. Have you studied about what is empowerment, or this, or are you guessing it?
Sir, this is my understanding.
Empowerment is to provide powers to those communities which are till now forcefully detached from the power. So that is why this term cannot be used for everyone. It is specifically used for those who are forcefully denied their rights. That's why we use the term empowerment of SC, empowerment of ST, empowerment of women, but we never say empowerment of businessmen.
Thank you, sir.
Getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you did civil engineering from Jodhpur, MBM Engineering College,
Yes,
Jodhpur. So what is the
yes.
specialty of Jodhpur?
Sir, Jodhpur has fort and palaces like Mehrangarh Palace, Umaid Palace, which is very attractive for tourists. And second, it is part of desert, so here the scope for renewable energy as well as the oil sector is explored. And otherwise, the people are very cooperative over there. They have good culture and good language, very honest people.
What are the specialties in such of Jodhpur related with the clothings?
Sir, handicraft, particularly in textile sector, is very good. Chunaria and lungadi, etc., for females as well as male are there. So
So
they are worldwide known.
Jodhpur is suit for men. And cuisine wise, what is the specialty?
Sir, overall Rajasthan has dal bati churma as cuisine, but particular to Jodhpur, is preference for higher spices is there.
Okay. So after completing your engineering, why did you go for MTech? Why not you join some company for civil engineering?
Sir, there were two reasons. One, that in my college, I didn't get placement in my core civil engineering area. I got placement in some other areas. So that was one reason. And second, sir, with BTech final year only, I got admission to IIT Bombay. So I chose not to miss this opportunity.
So what is the legacy of IIT Bombay you felt? Any 2-3 legacy?
So legacy, I would say that the alumni base over here is very good. They have they are working abroad, even in India, at very high positions. Like Mr. Manohar Parikar was alumni, so that is giving motivation to the students to do excel. And second is that the confidence of industries over IIT talent is good. So they are coming for placements, even sponsoring the research project over there. So that is the legacy.
So during your educational days, you got the Gargi prize. So who is Gargi?
So Gargi was ancient Vedic scholar, and she is motivation for this society, as that in ancient India, female condition was not very bad. So that way, and she is famous for a dialogue with Yajnavalika, where she challenged the hegemony of Yajnavalika.
So you have interest in Ghumar dance, huh? Of
Yes.
Rajasthan. Okay. Currently, Section 79 of IT Act is in news. So tell me, brief me why it was in news.
Sorry, sir, 79 I'm not aware, but 69.
Okay, what is why 69? Why it is in news?
Actually, sir, in Shreya Singhal case, Supreme Court has declared this 69 Act 69 section as unconstitutional. But one PIL from PUCL has said that this provision is still in use, and more than 1,000 cases were registered under this sections, which was unconstitutional even in 2015. So
There was a controversy between the Twitter and our previous IT minister. What was that?
sir, actually our government has come up with information technology IT intermediary guidelines. So according to that, these social media intermediaries need to appoint grievance redressal officer as well as compliance officers in India to provide better services to consumer. But Twitter somehow was not ready to implement these, and so there was clash. And secondly, Twitter also removed the account of previous IT minister without even giving a notice. So that was again the cause.
So when there was a controversy, certain sections were there which were providing immunity to the Twitter. So that section was removed the Twitter was removed from that section. So that section was section 79 of ITA. So what was the consequence of that?
Sir, under IT Act, these intermediaries are provided as immunity because as it is considered that they are only providing platform. They are not originator or generator of the information news. So, but according to intermediary guideline, if these intermediary will not follow the rules, then these immunity will be gone. So right now, Twitter has lost lost intermediary status.
Immunity, right? Okay, so that was. So why you think our IT minister was replaced by a new IT minister? What could be the reason?
The reasons can be political as well as administrative, sir, because government want to diversify the cabinet and to provide wider representation to all section of society, even statewide. So that was one reason of reshuffling. And second, political, because somehow the clash between Twitter and ministry was not handled very well. So that could also be one of the reasons. But no clarification from government side.
So is the IT minister still a minister of some department, or now he has got no ministry as such?
Sir, I believe he has no ministry as such, but I'm not sure, sir.
Okay. So actually he was a minister of number of departments, including the Department of Law, including Department of IT. So this is going to be too much work for that. And there were some hurdles in digitalization. Obviously, as you mentioned, there are some controversies also. So he was removed from the Ministry of IT, but he's continuing as Minister of Law. Basically, he's a lawyer, no? So there is a recent, we have heard about the Delta variant and the Delta Plus variant. So tell me something about these variants.
So these are mutations in spike protein of coronavirus. So Delta, and WHO has recognized these three, alpha, beta, and Delta and gamma variant. And right now, double mutation, triple mutation are also coming. So we are seeing Delta plus likewise. And according to some studies, it is found that Delta variant is more transmissible. It has R0 around 5 to 7, which is more compared to other alpha beta variants.
So what is the reason why this coronavirus, it mutates so hurriedly?
So one is natural cause, because as it replicates, it mutates, and it is mutating very fast because it is finding new users, new host very fast, because in densely populated area, people are more succumb to this coronavirus. That's what it is getting mutation very fast.
As you said, very right. Basically, the COVID SARS COVID virus is a RNA virus. The virus can be RNA virus. The virus can be DNA. Being RNA virus, it is made of a single helix. And whenever there is a single helix virus, so the chances of mutation are quite great itself. As you really mentioned, in number of places, number of temperatures, humidity, again, the RNA, it is facilitative for RNA virus again to mutate. So these are some reasons it mutates. So is the current vaccine, are they effective against the new mutations like Delta, Delta plus?
Yes, sir. Some studies about Covaxin has said that they are effective, and about other vaccines like Pfizer, Moderna also it has come out. But yes, more research and development need to be there for 100% verification.
Okay. So recently there was a apex level talk between Mr. Biden and Mr. Putin at Geneva. So tell me something. Can you tell me something about the outcome of the Geneva talks, which are recently held?
Their outcome was that they are trying to have a pragmatic relationship with each other. As President Putin said that we are not expecting something friendly or very good from America, rather than we are expecting a pragmatic relationship where we both can mutually exist and don't hamper each other's growth.
The embassy, their basically ambassadors were also returned back to their countries. So again, the decision was taken.
Yes.
And what was the decision taken? What were the talks held regarding the Ukraine in the same summit?
Sir, I'm not very sure, but yes, Ukraine is becoming part of NATO, so USA has cleared that if anything goes wrong, then we are there to protect Ukraine. So Russia should refrain from it, and similar type of response is given from Russia also.
What was the response of Russia in this summit related with the Ukraine?
Sir, I am not sure. I am forgetting actually.
Russia said it is none of your business. The Ukraine is our neighbor. It's our matter. It's not none of your business. So currently, has Ukraine become the member of NATO?
Yes, sir. Progress is going on actually. Yes.
So currently, it has become under the benefits of the NATO. But still, it's not a member of the NATO. And Russia is opposed to the NATO. Russia is opposed to the US because NATO is somehow helping the Ukraine. They are doing military exercises with Ukraine. So Russia is angry on this issue. Okay. So Ms. Deepesh, in Iran, there is a change of presidency. So what will be the effect on India-Iran relationship on this new presidency?
Sir, relation will be more or less similar, but yes, the new president is more on religious lines. So means he is core follower of Islam. So that way, some changes can be there. And the second, sir, our relationship with Iran are mostly dependent on Iran and USA relationship. So if they go well, JCPO negotiation goes well, then our relationship will be better with Iran. Means they are actually better, but yes, they will be more overt, I will say.
So with the coming of Mr. Ibrahim Raisi, there may be more fundamentalism in Iran. So that way it may be a little tougher, but more or less India can manage such relations. Okay. So what is the position of our Chahbar port which we are developing in Iran?
Chahbar port, we are part of that, but sir, some delays are happening because the USA sanctioned. Initially USA gave waiver to Chahbar port, but some construction material like heavy machinery and etc. need to be imported from USA, and they are not clearing it because of these sanctions. So some delays are happening, and due to that, associated things like railway line from this Chahabar port, we are out of that project because of Iran's concerns. So likewise, yes, Chahabar port we are okay, but some associated figures we need to look at.
So currently, NATO has taken itself away from the Afghanistan. So how Iran is concerned on that matter, and how India is concerned on that matter?
Sir, Iran has neighborhood with Afghanistan. So if any instability comes, then migrants, even these extremist people, can transgress to Iran boundary and can destabilize the regional peace. And similarly, sir, India is also concerned because Taliban has Taliban had ties with Al Qaeda and ISIS, which has history of hostility to India. So that is one concern. And second is that if migrants come to Pakistan, then India, then it can disturb our regional peace in Jammu and Kashmir. And yes, sir, overall stability is needed because our more than 3 billion investment is there in Afghanistan that also need to be looked at.
Currently, there is a one G7 summit held. So how G7 can counter the growing imperialism of China?
Yes, sir. G7 is a combination of democracy. So by pressing on more countries and providing the alternative to China's investment options like BRI, by providing alternative. So one initiative B3R were taken, so that can be. It can be alternative to China's imperialism, I would say. And second, it can also start a propaganda where small nations understand that China's funding is not sustainable, and they should look toward more transparent and sustainable funding. So that way, sir, one is psychological war, and second, providing alternative.
So is there some example to some country China has funded for the project, and when that country could not repay it back, so China acquired that particular area? Is there some example like?
The Sri Lanka's Hambantota port is the example where China was given lease for 99 years. Similarly, examples are there in Djibouti and other African nations, but name particularly I'm not sure.
No. Currently, there is a move of G7 and other industrialized nations to impose common global corporation tax. So, what is common global corporation tax?
So actually, the nations, in order to attract these big companies, were giving tax haven-like situations like Ireland, etc. So what company were doing, they were transferring their profit from the operational country to these tax haven countries. It is base erosion and the profit shifting. So to curb that, we apply global minimum corporate tax. So if these companies transfer the profit, then also they need to pay minimum tax. So the country where operations are going on are not at loss.
So in India, the GST was introduced with the slogan that one nation, one taxation. But still there is a multiplicity of tax in India along with the GST. What is your comment on this issue?
Sir, slowly we are trying to bring all commodities into GST regime. like petrol, diesel, alcohol, etc. But yes, because taxation is a federal concept, it impacts everyone. So wider discussion and consultation is needed. That's what it is taking time. And the second, sir, some operational easiness need to be followed from central government, because many small and micro industries are facing technical glitches in filing GST, and some technical know-how also need to be given to them.
So currently the taxes on petroleum, the taxes on liquor, are they part of GST or they are taken apart from GST?
Sir, apart from GST.
So what is the concept of GST all over the world? The concept is one nation, one taxation. In a country, if GST is taken, so normally if in that case, they do not charge the other taxes like income tax or X tax or Y tax. But in India, there are, apart from GST, there are again multiplicity of tax. Then what is the purpose of GST? Isn't it defeated?
Sir, earlier every state were having different value-added tax. So one good is moving from X state to Y state, it need to work like, yeah, either changing the trucks or likewise means. Many formalities were there because of different taxation. So we try to uniformalize that by one nation taxation.
Okay. So currently there is a new, ministry is created, that is Ministry of Corporation. So what is the purpose of such ministry?
So purpose is to provide a dedicated legal administrative framework for cooperative sector in India. There are multiple acts like Multi-State Cooperative Act, then states separate act are there, but some incidents of corruption, inefficiency, low finances for cooperatives have flared up. So to streamline that, the Ministry of Corporation has been.
So this cooperative is basically a state subject. It is not a central subject. So what is the rationale of creating a ministry on a subject which is not a union subject, which is not a concurrent subject, which is basically a state subject?
It is a state subject, but it matters the whole nation, and it is included in under our fundamental right, even Article 19. So sir, the ministry is not to assert the power, rather than it is to guide the states for bettering the cooperative sector. So yes, sir.
You mentioned fundamental right. What is that?
Sir, under Article 19, people are free to have cooperative society.
Achha. The right to form association.
It was in.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What is the method of creating a new ministry? Is it by bringing an act in the parliament, or some constitutional amendment, or just by an executive order it can be created?
So right now this ministry is created by executive order only, and as per my limited knowledge, I would my limited understanding of constitution, I would say that executive is like president has to decide like businesses and portfolios of executives. So prime minister by advising president can create ministry.
There are often debate between the rule of law and due process of law. Can you enlighten me? What is the difference between rule of law and due process of law?
The rule of law is a wider concept given by Dicey, according to which no one should be unheard before giving punishment, and second, no one should be the judge in his boss. And sorry sir, I was confusing it with principle of natural justice. the rule of law is that equal protection of law and equality before law, meaning every person, irrespective of its caste, creed, sex, or status, should be equally treated under law. And equal protection of law means every law applies equally to everyone. And due process of law means that the making of law in legislature was considered due. It considered all the circumstances, what will be the impact of it, and followed a humanistic or welfare approach, I would say.
So in India, we follow rule of law or we follow due process of law?
So rule of law is followed, and sir, according to constitution, we follow procedure established by law, but Supreme Court in various judgment has also followed due process of law.
Okay. So again, now coming back to my question, when in India there is a rule of law, and in rule of law, everybody is subject to the same law, and there is a similar kind of judiciary for everyone. Then why there is a plurality of judiciary in India? Why there is there are a number of tribunals?
Sir, sir, the purpose of tribunal is to provide expertise. Like if it is environmental related cause, then it is not possible for any human to have knowledge about all fields. So we need some experts. That is what tribunals were created. And second, sir, it is not against the rule of law, because the laws are made by legislature and parliament, and then it is applied to everyone in same manner. And the appeal mechanism is also same, because high court can be approached, then Supreme Court can be approached by everyone.
So currently, can you tell me certain government schemes which are for the betterment of women, specifically to the betterment of women?
Women particularly. So one is that Beti Bachao Beti Padhao. This is a big scheme for improving sex ratio. And second is Poshan Abhiyan is there, where we are trying to improve the maternal as well as the adolescent girls' health. And it's a particular to women. Sir, Stand Up India has component for SC, ST, and then women also. And third, sir, under this GEM, Government E-Marketplace, 25% of procurement by PSU is reserved for micro small industry, but in that 3% should be reserved for women. So that scheme is also good.
How self-help groups are instrumental for the empowerment of women in India? Role of self-help groups.
Self-help group will provide the bargaining power to women, because they are collective, their resources are collective, so they can get the credit at better prices, as well as they can get the raw material for their businesses at better prices, and can have wider access to marketing, technology, etc. Because people believe more on self-help group rather than single individual, because the risk is distributed in self-help group.
Why currently there is a corporatization of Ordnance Factory Board has been declared by our government? Corporatization of Ordnance Factory Board.
Sir, one, I would say that we are trying to indigenize the defense production as well as to modernize it. So to bring the technology as well as efficient management, we are trying to corporatize it. And other reasons can be that we want to reduce our fiscal deficit by monetizing the assets, like ideal assets.
So for what is fiscal deficit, how it is different from deficit financing?
So fiscal deficit is difference of expenses of the government and the revenue of the government. It is part of uh, has two combination, revenue deficit and capital deficit. And so deficit financing means how we are trying to like how we the mechanism with which this deficit will be reduced, either by printing money or by borrowing from the market or through monetization of assets.
And what is public borrowing?
So whenever government borrows from public, through like public includes here bank also as well as standalone investors. So that is public borrowing to finance
What
the
is
deficit.
so what is the difference? Is the fiscal deficit and public borrowing same or they are different?
So fiscal deficit is a bigger term, and the one part of reducing the fiscal deficit is by borrowing from public.
Are you sure?
Sorry, sir. I want to say that whenever there is deficit, means government is expending more and earning less. So how this is possible? Because government has some borrowing. So fiscal deficit includes borrowing.
How government covers the fiscal deficit part? How government takes the loan in fiscal deficit?
Government takes the loan.
Loan in case of fiscal deficit.
So if fiscal deficit is there, then government can increase the public borrowing by issuing government bonds. And the second is that it can also earn money by monetization of public sector units and ways and means advances by RBI also can be there.
Are you sure?
I cannot say that I'm sure. Sorry, sir.
देखिए fiscal deficit is a yearly phenomena. It's a budgetary phenomena. In budget, if expenditure are say more, say 100 is the expenditure, and say the expected income is 70. So that remaining part, 30 rupees, that government borrows. That is fiscal deficit. But it is since only in yearly phenomena, it's not through bond. It is through issue of the treasury bills, which are for weeks or for months. So how fiscal deficit is catered by the government? By issuing the treasury bills. Who start from week and they are within 1 year, right? So this is fiscal deficit. Say the government's expenditure are expected to be 100 in the budget and income is 70 in the budget. So how that 30 rupee government will generate? Through fiscal deficit. So this is fiscal deficit. And since it is a yearly phenomena, it is not, government doesn't take loan from other ways. It only takes loan normally through issuing of the treasury bills part. So this is fiscal deficit. That's all. So there is no external loan as such in fiscal deficit normally. So it is an yearly phenomenon, right? And when we talk about the public borrowing, that is public borrowing is the total borrowing by the government. It includes both the internal part, it includes the external part, and it is till now. So fiscal deficit is a part of a public borrowing part.
Yes, yes.
Say loan from the World Bank, loan from any other organization, they all become a part of public borrowing, but they are not a part of fiscal deficit. And then I ask you about the deficit financing. So in the same way, if 30 government has to borrow, the government has to spend 100 rupees and government's income is 70. So 30 rupees now government is going to borrow as fiscal deficit. Let us come back to the same example. 30 rupees government wants to borrow. So government issued treasury bills and the public purchased rupees 10 as a treasury bill. So remaining 20 RBI has to borrow. So that RBI borrowing of fiscal deficit part are known as deficit financing. RBI borrowing of fiscal deficit part is known as deficit financing, right? Yeah.
So right now my concepts are clear. It was not clear earlier.
No issue. So the government of India has recently liberalized our space policy. So can you tell me something about this liberalization in the space?
Yes, sir. The government is trying to increase the private sector participation in this space because globally it is increasing, as we have seen, even in case of the child brains and stuff. So new company has created. One is NSIL and second was that India Space Private Sector Participation, INCTC. I'm not sure now. And through which the private sector is promoted to have satellite launches and manufacture the parts of satellites, etc. And ISRO will provide the technology to that.
So the new organization will be in space that will work parallel for the promotion of the private sector, and there will be no dominance of the ISRO. It will work independently in space, right? So ISRO has a capacity to launch the geostationary orbits, in the geostationary orbit as well as in the geosynchronized orbit. It has a capacity to launch the satellites in geostationary as well as geosynchronized. So what is the two? What is the difference?
Sir, both are at 36,000 kilometer and have. But sir, one is in line with equator, means there is no angle of inclination.
Yeah.
And second is at some inclination.
So which one is the at equator?
The geosynchronous.
Oh, sure.
Geostationary.
Geostationary.
Yes, sir.
And because it depends upon our need, the position of our nation. So depending upon what is this. Okay. So can you tell me the name of certain space shuttles developed by ISRO?
Shuttles are space vehicles.
Space shuttles developed by ISRO, if there are any.
So
If
right
they
now
are developed,
mission.
If they are there, you can tell that these are the names. If ISRO could not be able to develop any space shuttle, you can say it doesn't have any space shuttle. You are free to answer.
Sir, actually, I am not sure, but I believe that for human space flight, Gaganyaan, it is in process of developing. I'm not sure, sir.
Not sure. So what is basically a space shuttle?
Sir, which transport human to space?
But ISRO has a capacity to launch the space vehicle. It has a capacity to launch, but that is not reusable. Whatever SLVs, PSLVs, GSLVs, whatever are there, they are not reusable. But if there is a spacecraft which is reusable, that is known as space shuttle. So does ISRO has a capacity to launch a space shuttle?
Yes, sir. Reusable technology has been developed. Nice.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir. Reusable technology has been developed, I am sure. But is it regarding space shuttle? I am not very sure.
Yeah. ISRO is working on reusable technology like balloon and all different kind of technology, but it's not having that. Acha, you tell me what is the reason ki PSLV etc. we can easily launch from our Sriharikota, but whenever there is an insect, normally we launch it with the help of European Space Agency. What is the reason?
One reason I would say is that GSLV MK3 is for launching communication satellite, but we have we want to save it for our human space flight and very important missions. So generally, we launch our INSET mission from foreign.
My question is, why, if there is a matter of launching of geostationary orbit, so we normally take the help of European Space Agency. If we have to launch it in a polar orbit, we can easily do it ourselves. What is the reason behind that?
So PSLV vehicles have done very well, and we have successfully tested its capacity. But GSLV MP3, I would say that the data regarding more successes are not there. So I believe that is the reason that we are seeking the help.
Whatever polar satellite vehicle are there, number one, their payload is normally less. Number two, their height is less. So normally they are less than 1 ton or around 1 ton. And their height is normally 1000, 1200 kilometers, 1500 kilometers at the most. So we are able to do it. Whenever there is a launching of INSET, although in recent time of 1 or 2 successfully we have launched, but generally the geostationary satellite, for that we take the help of European Space Agency, because the payload of INSET is normally around 3 tons. Payload is 3 tons, and the height at which the satellite has to be launched, it is generally 36,000 kilometers. So there is a huge difference between the payload and the height. So that's why for that purpose we take the help of European Space Agency, although we have other options, but European Space Agency is relatively cheaper. So that was the actually answer of my question. That's really. So currently cryptocurrencies are getting popularity. So how you do think the future of the cryptocurrency in the world?
The future of cryptocurrency is good because the people have accepted it open-heartedly. But yes, right now it is very free. No central government is regulating it. But I would say the anonymity associated with cryptocurrency and chances of getting it fraud and money laundering, etc., need regulation. So soonly, government will come up either regulating cryptocurrency or releasing their own digital currency.
Is Government of India planning to issue its own cryptocurrency?
Yes, sir. Government has drafted a bill about digital currency where RBI is trying to launch it.
Does it mention about launching its own cryptocurrency?
Sir, it says that we will look for options and we will study whether it is feasible and not.
Why people spend in cryptocurrency?
Sir, as a common investor, I would say that the gain from cryptocurrency are very huge in limited time. The volatility, mostly on positive side, is very good. So people want to have easy money in less time. And second is, sir, for other reasons, like it has anonymity, so central control is not there, so people can freely park their money in that. And very easy also, because many big companies have come up for facilitating the cryptocurrency investment. So it is at one click to invest in cryptocurrency.
What are the rules in India regarding cryptocurrency? Are they legalized?
So they are not legalized, but yes, RBI earlier made some statement that private are not allowed to transact in digital cryptocurrency, but then Supreme Court has questioned that order. So the status is not very clear, but it is not legalized. It is sure.
In USA, one billionaire, multi-billionaire of USA, he is accepting cryptocurrency to launch a satellite.
Yes, Tesla companies.
And previously he has declared even he will sell that Tesla car on the basis of cryptocurrency, but later on he took his statement back.
Yes, sir.
So people are calling Elon Musk as another Harshad Mehta. What are your comments? Which cryptocurrency he seems to be promoting?
Sir, sometimes that he promoted Dogecoin also. Then means sir, the policy is not very static, so it depends on his mind.
Yeah, his mind. Whenever he says, so the people get
Yes,
profit in that. So this is people are saying he's something creating a bubble in that currency. Yeah.
yes.
In Indian history, name any female personality of your choice.
Sir, personality from
Any female personality of your choice.
sir, which time means any time?
Any time, any Indian complete history, ancient, medieval, modern. Any women personality of your choice.
Sir, I have read mostly about Rani Jhansi Lakshmi Bai in my school textbook. So,
I will make a comment. I'll make a statement. You have to comment. Rani Lakshmi Bai fought the first war of independence to make India free. Now you have to comment.
yes, sir. That 1857 war was whether first war of independence or it was just agitation. It is debated, but yes, I am more inclined to say that it was first war of independence because it so wider participation from all sections of society, bearing some parts, and the motivation was not really only toward the sepoy mutiny, but they were having a wider goal. And sir, second, it also shows the valor of Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai, that George Who's also said that she was the only man in the war who fought who was died even on battlefield. So,
Now I'll make another statement. You have to answer on that. Rani Lakshmibai didn't fight for freedom of India. She fought for her own reasons. If there would be no doctrine of lapse, there would be no Rani Lakshmibai fighting against the British. Come on.
sir, the circumstances which rose Rani Lakshmi Bai were truly associated with the doctrine of lapse. But doctrine of lapse was a single manifestation how British were oppressing Indians. So if this was not there, then some other policy would have been there, which was again the oppressive, and not Rani Lakshmi Bai, but some other personality have risen to the same valor, I would say.
Okay, fine. Your interview is over.